Hello, everyone. My name is Samkelo Khatebe, and again, welcome to another episode of Vanquish. This is the show where odds and obstacles only exist to be conquered. I've got Tyrone Pillay with me, and yeah, I still think he's related to Barry White somehow because of the deep voice. Tyrone, how are you, buddy?
Hey Sam, good and you, my man. Long
Very
time,
well,
eh?
thank you. Yeah, no, it's been a while that we've spoken. I haven't seen you as well in ages, but yeah, the Barry White voice still hasn't changed, has it?
Yeah, that doesn't change. The size has been changing. I'm trying to match his size, but the voice is exactly the same.
All right, cool. When I spoke to you not so long ago, you told me about going to a Pilates class. Uh, what? How are you gonna get bigger by going to Pilates?
So one of the things about Pilates is not about getting bigger, right? So it's about increasing my core stability and my stabilization. And one of the things that I learned with shot put was that I wasn't that good at my stabilizers. So I started working specifically with Pilates to get that right. And now I find that I'm actually stronger because of that. That supplements my training. So that is one of the main reasons why I do Pilates.
This whole athletics thing or doing sports, where did it all begin? Because I met you closer to the end of my career, and there you were already this big and strong guy and throwing like a madman. Where did it all begin for you?
So I've always been into sport. I've played sport my whole life, but the sport I played was cricket. I never played anything else. I never did athletics or anything like that. I played cricket. I played cricket for nearly 14 years, competitive cricket, able body. And my dream was to play for the Dolphins, which is a local team here in KZN, and ultimately play for the Proteas. But as time went by, I was basically always overlooked because of my disability. And now I understand why the teams had some issues regarding selecting a guy with a disability, because if my prosthetic broke during the game, all of that stuff, right? Which is fine. And it has happened. I'm being honest. It has happened
Really?
while I was playing. I hit the ball into the covers and my leg snapped, and I'm on the ground groveling to try and get back into the crease because my leg snapped. And then I switch over and I bat left-handed with a broken leg. That's me. That's my personality. And that's when I realized that maybe I need to embrace who I really am. I need to embrace my disability. And that's when I decided to venture in towards disability sport. And I started making some inroads there. And I found out about, obviously, the Paralympics, because I didn't even know about the Paralympics, to be honest with you. I only found out about it in 2008 when I watched the Beijing Games. So before that, I didn't know anything. So yeah, that's how my journey started. But like I said, I've been into sport my whole life. It's something that I've always done. Unfortunately, it wasn't cricket that I got the green and gold for. I got it for athletics. So yeah.
Oh, that's actually an interesting story that you'd be right in the middle of your sport and your prosthetic breaks. I mean, that means you need to carry like a spare prosthetic, just in case it snaps, and you can be like, wait, everyone, just a minute, quickly pop it in and then put it on. If that one breaks, then I don't know.
I suppose now it's good because I have people that help me to get extra prosthetic legs. Back then when I was playing cricket, it was only my parents that could pay for my legs. So we didn't have the luxury of having multiple legs if one broke. You just had one, it breaks, you try to fix it and try to protect that one as best as you could. I mean, now we're fortunate, you can go out, get another one within a couple of minutes, you can swap them out, that kind of thing. When I go to Paralympics, I have 3 with me, like that kind of a thing. So I think things have changed quite dramatically from when I was playing cricket.
So when it then comes to your Paralympic sport, why did you choose your specific throwing events? Why couldn't you sprint, buddy, or do a long jump? I mean,
well, I'll start by saying firstly I was too heavy to run, right? So I figured, you know what, let's not do the running. If you saw my picture from the Paralympics in 2016, high jump is definitely on the cards, because there's this picture of me jumping super high up at the opening ceremony. So maybe in the next games I'll be trying for high jump. But I was always obsessed with strength and power. I used to watch The World's Strongest Man, and I used to be very intrigued by that. So therefore I decided, okay, maybe I can do something with my strength. So that's when shot put and discus became the options. And then as time went by, I started picking up a problem with my shoulder. So I left discus and I just ventured straight into shot put. And then that's how the shot put road opened up, and I started getting so good at shot put, and that I got to represent South Africa.
Things weren't always rosy with you on your road to Paralympics. What are some of the struggles that you had? Because after watching the Beijing Games, you would have obviously set London as a target for you. So what are some of the difficulties that you faced leading to London?
I think one of the hardest parts for me was I had no coaching. I didn't know what shot put was all about. I didn't understand the technical aspects of it. So there was nobody to coach me. So what I did was I started watching YouTube. And by the way, I'm a qualified cricket coach. I studied to become a coach in cricket. So I figured I could use some of the knowledge that I have in coaching to coach myself in shot put. So I'd watch all these videos on YouTube and understand how the mechanics worked. And I started applying that to my throwing. And that's how I started to learn. And I think for me, that was the biggest struggle. You can't go from a game like cricket to shot put and not have coaching. You need to have some sort of background behind you. And I think if I had a coach, I would have developed a much quicker stream than I am currently. That's my personal opinion. But hey, it is what it is. And I am where I am right now due to the fact that I'm determined and I'm driven. So, I don't regret anything that's happened. But I think for me, that's the one aspect that should have changed, is that if there was coaching available, I think things would have been a lot easier.
So that means then leading to the Rio Games, you already had all of that in place, because, there would have been World Championships and then you made it to the Paralympics. So did you then manage to get a coach?
Yeah, so interesting. So I moved over to a coach in Stellenbosch, who we did a lot of virtual stuff. So obviously via video con, or, we'll chat on a regular basis, that kind of thing. And then of recent, I worked with a coach in Denmark, who used to be a Paralympian himself, Jackie Christensen, and we work together quite closely, and he's been helping me to try and redefine the way I throw and things that I'm currently doing. So that's really good. It kind of works for me. I know the ideal world is to have somebody with you, but I don't have that luxury, so I can't exactly harp on that. So I just work on the positives, and the positives is I have somebody and they tell me to do this, and this is what I do. And I'm such a driven guy. If you tell me to train 2 to 3 hours, I'll train 2 to 3 hours, that kind of thing. The only problem though is, fixing the technical faults. That's what you need somebody there physically with you all the time.
The balancing act of having a full-time job and still then having to train for the highest level of sport, being the Paralympics. How do you balance that? How do you manage that?
It's called time management. So one of the things is, I'm very lucky with my work. They give me a lot of leeway as far as my time is concerned. So what I do is I structure my day accordingly. My position at work used to be a lot harder, so therefore it was more complicated. It's a lot easier now, so I have more time on my hands to do the training. But I train nearly 6 hours a day now. So, as soon as I leave work, I'm training. Sometimes I'm only home by 9 o'clock in the evening, kind of thing. So it's a long time that I put into training, and I'm very dedicated. Like I said, you'll never see me missing a training session. You'll never, irrespective of whether it's my birthday or what it might be. I'm in the gym, I'm in the track, and I'm doing my thing every single time.
Wow, that's a lot. That's probably how much time soccer players put into their sessions. So you go into the Paralympics in Rio 2016. What are your feelings about it in terms of your readiness, your preparedness for those games, and also what expectation did you have going into those games?
Well, I'll start with expectations. I had no expectations. My biggest thing was I wanted to be the best that I can be. So I needed to prepare for that. So preparation leading into Rio was to be the best that I could be. I didn't care about the other people. My focus was never on the other competitors. It was all about me and how I could prepare. And obviously, I spoke to a lot of people before the games, and they gave me some advice how to attack it and how to think and that kind of stuff. So that was pretty much it. There was never a matter of, I'm going to win a gold medal or do this. It was just be the best person that you could. That was it. It's quite simple. when I got to the games, oh my word, everything changed for me. It was like a lifelong dream to represent my country at the highest platform, to stand there with your fellow teammates, see the national anthem being sung, watching our flag go up. It's just amazing things. I still remember watching you at the IWAS World Games. It was one of my first ones. And the national anthem, I don't know if you remember it, and the song stopped playing, and we all sang the national anthem in the stadium. It was an amazing moment. That. Something that it's very hard to explain to people. But, for me, it was one of those defining moments. And that's how I felt when I was there. Team South Africa walked in for the opening ceremony. There was hype. There was excitement. Nobody cared about the irrelevant stuff. It was just that we were there now, and we're going to perform, and we're going to do our thing. And that's how I saw it. For me, it was, I don't know if I'm going to get another game. I don't know what's going to happen after this. But just go there, enjoy every minute of it, and make the most of it. So that's how I looked at it.
And perform you did, because obviously you did not walk away empty-handed. So it's quite modest of you to say, I just went in there, with no expectations. I just wanted to be, the best of me. Meanwhile, you are going there and you are busy destroying and shattering things as you were there. Tell us about that performance, because you did come back with the medal. How was that moment for you when you were there? Because the other thing as well about field events, it's unlike sprinting, where I go as the gun goes and then I finish and then that's it. There's time. You throw with your first throw, with your second throw, you can see how your competitors are doing. So mentally, I think there's different stress levels during every throw, because you can see the results changing. And this is your first time at the highest level of sport. What was going through your mind?
So one of the nice things was, obviously I had Jackie as a mentor at that time, and Jackie was giving me, like, before the games, gave me a lot of advice as to what I need to do and how to think. And we had a strategy for the throws, specifically around the competition. So he didn't want me to go too hard from the start. So the first couple of throws was just to get in and make sure that we're on the board. And that's exactly what I did. I went in there, I threw the first couple, and then the problem started, because by round 3, I was lying 9th. And as we know, in the throwing events, only the top 8 get to go in, right? So now you're kind of in a situation, am I going to make the final or not? And then I still remember putting the shot into my neck, and I looked at everybody and I'm like, what's everybody stressing about? Just be calm. Like, everybody's sitting behind me and they all got their heads down, and I'm like, oh, calm. I put the shot in, I lock in, and I just smoked this thing. And I hit a PB of 1360 something, I think it was. And oh my word, excitement. And then I go from 9th position to 3rd, all in one throw. And now we're like, okay, game is on now, because now we know the guys are going to come after you. You got to make sure you can maintain that level. So, the game plan was quite simple. Don't go hard, hold on, go 3rd and 4th, try and push as hard as we could. And then when the medal was secured, by round 6, the medal was there. We knew the medal was there. There was no taking it away from me. And then we said, okay, let's have some fun and just throw this thing as even further. And that's exactly, put it in, threw it out, 1391, new South African, new African record, secured the 3rd place. And we're really happy with that. Like I said, for me, it was never about medals. I don't do this for medals. I always say I do this because I want to inspire and motivate people. The medal was a catalyst to get me to there. And I'm really proud of the medal. I'm really grateful for it. But how you remembered without the medal is just as important as with the medal.
Well, no, very wise words. So now we were supposed to have our 2020 Paralympic Games in Tokyo, which will happen next year. Did you have plans of improving from the last position, or were you just going to go there again, not expecting anything in inverted commas? Meanwhile, you are eyeing for gold, because we know now that you're training 6 hours a day while not expecting anything.
This time around, I knew that I was going to make the final, right? That was my goal. That was what I was driven towards. I said, I'm going to make the final. I have a huge fan base in Japan, which is one of the big things for me. I have a massive fan base in Japan. So I figured I have to go there and perform at my best, but I want to change the color of that medal. There's no lie about that. This time, I'm being honest about it. I wanted to change the color of that medal.
Yeah, I'll guess the color and say it's not a silver color. And if you were to achieve a personal best at that competition, then surely you would also be eyeing the world record as well at your next Paralympics. That's if you're
Sorry, I
not
didn't hear you. So
throwing it. I'm saying that if you are obviously going to get a different color medal, you are then obviously also eyeing the world record, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose that would be on the cards, definitely. You know, like you say, you set one goal and then you set the second and then the third, you know, that kind of a thing. And that's how I've attacked every single competition. I go in with the first one, and then once we achieve that, we go to the second. You also don't want to put too much pressure on yourself. You know, I think one of the biggest problems that you find is when you go into a competition, you add pressure to yourself by saying, I'm going to win a gold medal, I'm going to win this, I'm going to win that. And then when you don't get to that point, you start feeling the pressure. So for me, it's more about getting the process right all the way through. And then once I get there, then we go game 1 done, 2, then 3, and then that's how I attack it. I'm a bit of a machine when it comes to that. That's how I see. My mindset is completely different from most people. I'm like a robot, and like I said, just want to go for it.
Yeah, no, I've seen you train. I've seen you compete as well. That's definitely true. So we're gonna be obviously following your journey between now and the next Paralympics. So this is not gonna be the last time that we talk to you. Continue doing the Pilates, because obviously it's making you that much stronger and that much better as well. And I suppose bettering yourself, you know, by beating your PBs shows that there's genuine progress. And surely that must be a good feeling when you do that, yeah?
Yeah. You know, any athlete wants to be at their best every single time. So imagine if you go to a big games and you can PB at a big games, you know you've done all that you can. I mean, you might not always come out with a medal, but you know you've given everything that you can. And that's me. You know, I can tell you some stories about Rio, about how I couldn't walk after the competition was because I gave everything. I left everything on the field. I gave it everything because I feel like I'm a soldier for my country. You know, it's something that I've always felt. When I go there, I go to war for my country. And you want to know you've given it everything. And that's how I live my life. Every day is 100%. I always say to people, I have 2 switches, on and off. There's no in between. I'm either going to do something or I'm not going to do it. You know, that's the way I live my life. So, you know, if you live on those lines and you give it everything you got every day, you don't live in regret.
No, I'm very happy with that. I'm just asking now that while you are training hard, putting in your 6 hours, for next year's Paralympics, just try and establish a beast mode switch. So you will switch it on and then go on beast mode and then change that color of that medal.
The on is beast mode, by the way.
Yeah, I know, buddy. You know what? I'm very proud of your accomplishments. You've really done well since you started with the sport, and I've got no doubt that your aim of inspiring people is something that you've been achieving, and I'm sure you've changed so many lives without even realizing it.
I think we all have. You know, when I started Paralympic sport, I was amazed by everybody around me, and I always talk about my teammates because I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for them as well. You know, they are the people that broke the boundaries for us, got us to where we're at. And if we can now set a base for the next generation, then we're part of that same legacy. And I think that's the important thing. I mean, same with you, what you have done, what you have achieved, nobody can take that away from you. And it's the same thing for me. As much as I'm very humble about what I've achieved, I think personally, we are the guys that have now created the platform. It's now for the next generation to take it on.
Wow. Well, Tyrone, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining us here on Vanquish. We really do wish you all the best on your journey. And yeah, we have no doubt that beast mode is coming for the Tokyo Paralympics. Everyone else, this is Tyrone Pillay. The man is a beast. On or off? On is beast mode. Thank you so much for joining us. See you on the next episode.